So, we are all gathering here at this time to practice meditation. One who tame and train the mind brings happiness. When the mind is not tamed and not trained, it brings suffering. It also brings stress, unhappiness and disappointments, and unable to deal with the different situations. And without any reasons, finding faults within oneself and others, every time trying to find some form of arguments or complaints. It is like complaining about the nature, about the rain, about the wind. But practice of a meditation helps us to understand those stages. All what we need is to practice. Diligent practice, ardently practicing. And this urgently practicing and diligently practicing help us to notice the wind. Help us to notice this mind. And how do we notice the wind? We notice the wind when we see the leaves are moving, when we feel the breeze in us, a freezing cold is passing through, or a warmness passing through. The body comes to contact with it and we feel the air. Similarly, our mind. We are able to notice this mind when it comes to contact with something. Whether it is a contact through the eyes, or whether it is the sound that comes to contact, or anything that comes to contact with our body, then we feel it, we notice that. And every time when we notice this mind, and it is up to us how to define or how to react, we have a choice to decide. We're not trying to stop moving a leaf, and we're not complaining about the coldness or the breeze. But we learn to adjust and adapt in that environment and finding happiness, or comfortable at least. Similarly, in our practice of a meditation, we need to know that. We need to develop that. And that development we can by simply ability to recognize them as mind has comes to contact with other objects, and how the mental state is at that time. And the progress of a meditation, obviously it takes significant amount of a dedication, determination, motivation, and even a resolution. Suppose you are working with a primary object, you have to have a faith on that object. You have to have a faith on yourself that you are going to practice. And making a resolution that you are not going to change. It's called adhitthana. And being mindful of the breath coming in, going out, rising, falling. As it comes in, aware of that, and as it comes out, aware of that. When it comes in, it affects the entire body, and there are some form of expansion takes place. And when breathe out, contracts the entire body. So always begin with this, of breathing in and breathing out, rising, falling. Just to settle down your mind. Always start from the beginner's mind. Never ever think that you have been practicing and you have attained some form of a jhanas or a concentration or blissfulness in the past. Always from the beginning. It's like driving a car. Always sit comfortably, put the seat belts, checking the maneuvers, and gently driving with a full attention. Always from the start, beginner's mind. And with this knowing and the seeing, the activities of this mind help us to tame this mind, not to fall down into the unwholesome states, not to fall down onto the past stories that is haunting, that is causing a trouble or traumas, but recognizing them and let it be, and not worrying about the future too, which yet to come or which may not be able to see that future. So that's why sometimes it is also known as past is a mystery and future, past is a history, future is a mystery, and a present moment is the mastery. So we need to be master of the present moment. Anything that's taking place, being a mindful and awareness of it, understanding the impermanence of it. The more we do, the condition we create to the mind become more familiar with that object. And every situation, whatever is taking place, we become more aware of. Keep us safe. It's like a learning in any skill. At first, there is confusions, but once you have learned, done it sometimes, you become a skill. Automatically you know how to do, and you will be responding. Similarly, at first, you may find difficult to pay attention to the breath coming in and going out, rising, falling. Sometimes you may be able to concentrate only one breath coming in, other time maybe just two coming in and going out. But never give up. Never give up to practice to be mindful of those things. And eventually it brings the fruit. So remember to be mindful of the primary object, whichever you have chosen, whether it is breathing in and out or the rising, falling of abdomen. Constantly being mindful of incoming breath and outgoing breath, rising, falling. And train the mind as it is observing incoming breath and outgoing breath. What is the state of the mind? How the mind is paying attention to it? Whether it is wambling, distracted to the thoughts, the stories, or simply there looking at the primary object. And sustain the concentration on it. Then you may check your mental state as soon as you're able to sustain your mind on an object. There will be a smile or a rejoicing in it, feeling of a pleasantness arises. So continue paying attention to as a base on the primary object, but allowing other things to take place. And you become mindful of that, observing, acknowledging, noting, and let go to the primary object.